This is the story of the most underwhelming theme park I've ever been to. This is Coaster Rants and Reviews, Episode 1 of Enthusiast Adventures. The year is 2017. My first trip to the legendary Six Flags Magic Mountain theme park in Valencia, California was on the horizon, and obviously I could hardly wait. Tatsu, Twisted Colossus, Full Throttle, and X2 all look like some of the best roller coasters in the world. And obviously, that comes with very high expectations. When I arrived at the park, I dashed for Twisted Colossus. It was the best ride in the park for me. However, I was slightly underwhelmed due to the lack of dueling. Despite this, the attraction sustained strong ejector airtime, creating a great ride experience. Then I went to Full Throttle, which wasn't very intense and was pretty short. In my opinion, the attraction was lackluster. Several of the other park's coasters fell under the same classification. Lackluster. Superman, Apocalypse, and Goliath all were boring for me and underwhelming rides. Despite this, none of them were truly terrible attractions. After those lackluster roller coasters, I went over to eat lunch at Twisted Witches, which I heard was pretty good. As expected, I did have a delicious sandwich, and I highly recommend this food spot. After a lunch, I went on Green Lantern First Flight, because it's always a great idea to go on a 4D coaster right after a big lunch. I didn't get sick on the ride, but it was one of the worst coasters I've ever ridden. It was extremely jerky and uncomfortable. The main cause of the jerkiness was due to the abrupt stops on the ride caused by a countless number of trim breaks. The ride was pretty bad, but nothing could ever compare to the next ride I've ridden. X2 is without a shadow of a doubt the worst roller coaster I've ever ridden. I was expecting this to be one of my top coasters, not one of my worst. The first half was decent. The forces weren't anything special, and I didn't find the ride disorientating at all. Then the second half arrived, and it was bad. Right around the part where the fire spews up, I got a really bad jolt. That knocked my head so hard against the restraint, I thought I was injured. And the next day I woke up to find a giant lump on the side of my head. Then to add on to the pain I was already feeling, there was a rattle that got significantly worse as the ride progressed. And by the end of the ride, every part of my body was in tremendous amounts of pain. I've ridden Thunderhawk, Mean Streak, all of which are terrible rides. None of those even remotely compare to the pain I've experienced on X2. I was ready to leave the park, but Tatsu basically saved my day. I rode it and fell in love with it, and to this day it is my sixth favorite roller coaster. So I didn't leave with a sour taste in my mouth, but I couldn't say I had the world-class experience that I was hoping to have. Sure, they have a lot of coasters, the most in the world in fact, but only a couple of them were outstanding. In the end though, it was still a fun day, and I'd give this place your time. Go get the credits, but it isn't a place I'll be going back for years to come.